Literally, I clicked one button and created an entire story. Randomized absolute. Great. Absolutely everything. Let's read it. Garth Platt was thinking about Matthew Torrance, alright? Oh, again. Matthew was I can't read that, you read it. Rover with greasy warts and rubby fingers. Okay. Garth walked over to the window and reflected on his chilly surroundings. Oh, he had always loved rural Upper Bongington with its cool, crispy cliffs. Why are they crispy? It was a place that was encouraged his tense tendency to feel surprised. They saw something in the distance, or rather someone. It was an intuitive figure of Matthew Torrance. Garth gulped. He glanced at his own reflection. He was an optimistic, clever squash drinker, with fragile warts and short fingers. His friends saw him as a light, those loose lawyer. Once he had even brought a wide old lady back from the brink of death. But not even the optimistic person who had once brought a wide old lady back from the brink of death was prepared for what Matthew had in store today. The moon shone like eating goldfish, making Garth active. Garth grabbed a silver sandwich that had been strewn nearby. He massaged it with his fingers. As Garth stepped outside and Matthew came closer, he could see the impossible smile on his face. Matthew gazed with the affection of 8,841 delightful, resonant rats. He said in hushed tones, "I love you and I want to fight." Garth looked back, even more active and still fingering the silver sandwich. "Matthew, I am in love with you," he replied. They looked at each other with calm feelings, like two knobby kind kittens skipping at a very greedy dinner party, which had orchestral music playing in the background, and two brutal uncles shouting to the beat. Suddenly, Matthew lunged forward and tried to punch Garth in the face. Quickly, Garth grabbed the silver sandwich and brought it down on Matthew's skull. Matthew's greasy watch trembled and his grubby fingers wobbled. He looked healthy, his emotions raw like a many map. Then he let out an agonizing groan and collapsed onto the ground. Moments later, Matthew Torrance was dead. Garth Platt went back inside and made himself a nice beaker of squash. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end. Let's discard it. Make another one. This. Let's fill the entire form with random ideas. Let's go. Grand Etc. Untitled writer. So this guy's a mystery. Peter looked at the stripy knife in his hands and felt stressed. He walked over to the window and reflected on his beautiful surroundings. He had always loved Grand Etc. with its stinky swamps. It was a place that encouraged his tendency to feel stressed. Then he saw something in the distance, or rather someone. It was a figure of Stanley Bishop. Stanley was an intuitive academic with handsome lips and squat ankles. Pete gulped. He glanced at his own reflection. He was a grateful, admirable wine drinker with handsome lips and fluffy ankles. This guy's a furry? His friends saw him as a pickled, putrid patient. Once, he even had made a cup of tea for an outrageous deaf person. Amazing. But not even a grateful person who had once made a cup of tea for an outrageous deaf person was prepared for what Stanley had in mind today. The hail pounded like sitting goldfish, making Pete lonely. As Pete stepped outside and Stanley came closer, he could see the grim glint in her eyes. I'm here because I want a resolution? Stanley bellowed in an understanding tone. She slammed her fist against Pete's chest with the force of 6,511 goldfish. I friggin' love you, Pete Dupe. That was the lady that said that, by the way. Pete looked back, even more lonely and still fingering the stripy knife. Stanley. Yabba-dabba-doo, he replied. They looked at each other with ambivalent feelings, like two average, abundant, arcane, dancing at a very loving birthday party, which had indie music playing in the background, and two sweet uncles gyrating to the beat. Pete regarded Stanley's handsome lips and squat ankles. He held out his hand. Let's not fight, he whispered, gently. Pondered Stanley. Please, begged Pete with puppy dog eyes. Stanley looked at the stable, her body blushing like a resonant ratty record. Then Stanley came inside for a nice glass of wine. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end. Fucking adverts. Alright, pretty cool. Plot generator. Go find it wherever you like. Next door, your uncle, probably Google. Try your rabbit's house. I don't know. Have a good day, and subscribe.